Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today and joining us on episode 82 of Skill Building Sunday, hosted today, Sunday, August 14th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I am your host, Jason Leeser, and if this is working for you, please make a note and let us know in the comments area or the chat box to let us know that we're coming through loud and clear. And welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real-world events, to share and inspire and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every day, and with your help have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on-demand tattoo and art shows that have all been receiving rave reviews. You can find us on both the app stores, the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. You can also beam in live on the YouTube or Facebook. You can catch all of our replays on our Roku channel, reinventingthetattoo.com/Roku. Or you can always catch all of the podcasts in all of the usual places, such as Apple and Spotify. Artists, feel free to zoom in by clicking on the link in the events area or the event calendar. If this is your first time zooming into Reinventing the Tattoo, you could win a limited run t-shirt. Who doesn't like free t-shirts, right? You can always get the latest event schedule and notifications so you don't miss your favorite shows, as well as access to the Reinventing 24/7 channel, where we rebroadcast a lot of your favorite shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all available at the official Reinventing the Tattoo website, www.reinventingthetattoo.com, which actually links out to everywhere. So it's pretty handy to know that. Once again, if you can hear us and you can see us, please drop us a line and let us know in the chats and the comments area. And please tag a friend who loves tattoos. Send out the link to all of your friends and coworkers, any enthusiasts you might know, anyone that might be curious. Tag them in it, send them the link. We're always looking for new people and new perspectives and new communication and discussions so that we can expand our horizons as well as help to expand yours. We have a number of weekly staple shows that we always encourage people to tune into, starting on Sundays at 1 p.m. with me, Jason Leeser, for the Skill Building Sunday Drawing Group. And that's followed on Mondays at 9 a.m. with Drawing for Tattooers with James Wisdom, where we discuss basic fundamental drawing techniques and strategies. After that, we have Monday at 11 a.m. with the Tattoo Weekly Show hosted by Lauren Gregory, Jake Meeks, and Gabe Ripley. Then on Mondays at 5 p.m., we have Let's Talk About Feelings with Robbie Rapole, where we go through and we discuss some of the lesser talked about topics in tattooing, such as how do we feel about certain things. And that's all followed on Mondays at 9 p.m. with a subscriber exclusive drawing group with Guy Aitchison himself. So if you are a subscriber to the Reinventing the Tattoo Canon or the Reinventing the Tattoo Evolution course, you have access to that live drawing group every Monday evening at 9 p.m. And I can tell you this without a doubt, it is absolutely priceless. I've been doing it for just about 2 years now, and you can see a noticeable evolution in the artwork I have been creating. So that alone is worth it. All of that is followed on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. with a very good friend of mine, incredibly talented artist and one hell of a tattooer as well, Ricardo Sertivant. Where we go through during his Tuesday Feels drawing group and we discuss, different philosophies of life and different ways to look at things, different aspects to how do we improve on ourselves. And once again, that's Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Wednesdays at 1 p.m., we have the TattooNow show hosted by Gabe Ripley, where we go through and take a deeper dive into some of the more business aspects behind tattooing, such as finances, accounting, marketing strategies, advertising, how to really start attracting those clients that you want to tattoo. Once again, that's Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Thursdays at 6 p.m., we have the Tattoo Collecting 101 podcast with Fawn Baker. And we go through and we start talking about collecting tattoos and what are important strategies when we want to collect tattoos. What are things to look at, things to think about? You know, what are some people's experiences when it comes down to their collection? So feel free to tune in Thursdays at 6 p.m. for the Tattoo Collecting 101 podcast. As always, I would like to go through and take a minute to thank some of our sponsors, some of the people that make these shows happen. Starting off with Raw Pigments, an ink company that's tapping into the source, rawpigments.co. These are acrylic-free, vegan-friendly, absolutely incredible powder-based pigments. They saturate the skin super quickly, heal up super vibrant, and it's absolutely incredible. I'm almost exclusively using all of Raw Pigments now, and I can tell you without a doubt, they are 100% worth it. Once again, that's rawpigments.co. Next, we have worldtattooevents.com, the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. As we know, in this post-pandemic industry, all of the tattoo conventions and events that we so look forward to every year, some of them are still getting rescheduled. So for the latest and greatest, most up-to-date information on what tattoo events are going on in your area of the world, take a look at worldtattooevents.com. Next, we have Dermalize Pro, also known as Dermalize in the rest of the world. Thank you, international copyright laws. Protect your art. Dermalize was designed by wound care specialists, specifically designed to help you heal your tattoos. Go through, take a look. You can always Google it to find out more information, or hey, watch some videos of tattooers using it on YouTube and find out what it's all about. That's Dermalize Pro. And next we have TattooNow.com, technology for tattooers, the leading edge in SEO and professional development for tattooers of all levels, and they are now accepting new clients. So if you're really looking to go through and expand your online presence to really start marketing to that clientele base that you really want to tattoo and bring in, take a look at TattooNow and go through, contact them. These are the people that will help you get the clients that you really want to tattoo, people that want to do the kind of work that you want to do. So take a look at tattoonow.com. And as always, this wouldn't be Reinventing the Tattoo without a very personal and very professional thank you to the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo, Guy Aitchison. Take a look at guyaitchison.com, where you can pick up a copy of his Biomech Encyclopedia. He's got some DVDs, some custom coil machines. He's got a few original oil paintings, as well as countless fine art prints and a whole lot more, all available at guyaitchison.com. Would also like to go through and take a very quick second to say a quick shout out and thank you to two of our affiliates, the Apprenticeship Diaries with Amy Nichols and the Fireside Tattoo Network with Jake Meeks. If you're looking to get an apprenticeship or you want to know more about them, take a look at the Apprenticeship Diaries with Amy Nichols. If you're already a tattoo artist and you're looking for another source of information, take a look at the Fireside Tattoo Network, where they go through and they try to merge the worlds of tattoo and fine art. As always, we always ask that you go through and please, if you like these shows, post a positive review on the channel and help us get the word out. Send links to your coworkers, let them know that we beam out, all the time. And we've got a whole network worth of shows. As well, if you would like to host a Reinventing the Tattoo event or become a sponsor of our community, maybe you're just looking for a fine art critique or a tattoo critique. As always, you can always email management@reinventingthetattoo.com, and we will be happy to get back to you and help you out with whatever you need. And yeah, thank you and welcome to the show. And we're already joined by Medusa. She's in here already. We've got Shannon Moxie just joined us. That's awesome. Maria just joined us in the Facebook comments from Brazil. Hello, hello. We've got Carlo Ray watching from the Philippines. That's awesome. I can't wait to get out to that part of the world. You're always welcome. It's always nice to see what's going on in other parts of the world as well. So please, by all means, hit us up. Let us know. And on that note, I'm going to actually switch my video because I'm going to be working on a painting today. Amber Morgaine says, hey guys, what's up? One of these days we'll get you on the Zoom, Amber. One of these days. Actually, I wonder if I can just do this. That should work, right? Yeah, that'll be cool. All right, cool. So we'll switch this. Whoop, nope. There we go. Much better. Yay. Dear.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
Sweet. I had to switch out my headphones. So sorry about that. All good.
Awesome. Shannon Moxie is in the chats today.
Hey, Shannon.
She says, I'm on chat today since there's a loud soccer match being enjoyed at my house. By soccer, you mean football, which is awesome because I love a good football match. I do. I'm like a closet fan. Like not many people know that, but I do. I absolutely love it. Give me a Premier League game any day of the week, and I will pretty much neglect everything else I have going on in my life. I guess that's kind of sad in a way.
We all have our vices.
Yeah. And actually, let's do this.
I'll gladly neglect anything just to hang out with my dog. So.
I just went to a match with Austin Football Club versus Red Bulls, but my heart belongs to Liverpool. Ah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. I've always been a big Man U fan, so I just don't know what you see in Liverpool. I don't. Sorry. I don't get it. But maybe that's just me. Let's see if this will do. Yeah, that's better. Cool. Then we can do one of these guys. Why is that not popping up? Oh, technology. When you work, you're amazing. When you don't, you are the bane of everyone's existence.
My biggest struggle with technology is printers. Printers kill me. There's always something wrong with the printers. Yep. I've run through so many printers. Then again, I don't invest in really fancy printing printers. I always just get whatever cheapest office printers I can get. And yeah, bad decision. I bought the right size ink cartridge for black recently for my printer. Right size, everything fits. Won't take it, won't register it.
What kind of a printer is it?
The one I've got is HP.
Interesting.
Yeah.
HP is usually pretty good with compatibility.
Yeah, I want to get one of those really fancy Epson printers with the ink reservoirs where you just refill it with liquid ink.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some pretty fancy ones that make for very amazing prints. Although that is something that you would know more about.
So
I just know
I
my
was
friend has
actually
one.
just having this conversation with Jake Meeks from Fireside not too long ago.
Oh, I like Jake.
About
That's cool.
printers and you know, what to look for in a good high quality printer setup, as well as, you know, like what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of that. And I will say this, if you're not using it to make fine art reproductions, anything will pretty much work. If you're trying to start getting into making your own prints, there are very specific things you need to know about. And it all boils down to the difference between someone going through and selling a print for $5 because they just ran it off of their desk jet at home, or maybe they go through and selling the same print but for $50, right? And a lot of that has to do with the printer and the type of ink that you buy. So as much as I love those Epson Eco Tanks, and I think they're really awesome and very budget friendly, if you're going to try to use that something like that for like actual like printing prints, I would not really recommend it.
Gotcha. I'm gonna have to talk to you about print setups, because I would like to eventually, probably not anytime soon, but eventually invest in a good print setup, because I do want to sell prints, but I don't want to have prints on stock. That's just stuff. And I like, historically, I've made a bunch of prints before, and then I've just carried those same prints around for years when the rest of them didn't sell. And I kind of want to make things as they sell so that I don't have to carry around stock.
Right. I totally understand that. I've been there myself, and you know, it's like you don't want to have to go through and spend, you know, several $100s making all of these prints just to not sell any of them, you know? And
Yeah.
so I trust me, I understand that. I get it. Sorry, Joe Slater made a comment, tattoo enthusiast on the Facebook. What's up, Joe? But yeah, it's, you don't want to be sitting on unsold inventory, right? Because that's basically just, it's a waste of money.
It's a waste of money and space, and it makes you feel shitty.
However, I will say this. One thing that I've found is that there are people out there that will go through and they will, for lack of a better term, they will run off 10 copies of whatever, you know, piece they want to sell prints of, and that's it. Those are the only 10 that are ever going to be made. I'm never printing any more of them. Take it or leave it. If you like it, buy it. If you don't, whatever. You know, so it becomes a very, very limited quantity, which actually increases the value of it. No, you might not sell every single one of them, but because those are the only ones that are ever going to be made, you would be surprised at what that does to collectible value for people at shows and conventions and stuff like that. It's like, well, maybe I don't really like it, but like, if these aren't ever going to be made again, maybe I'll pick one up just for posterity's sake, just to have it as like collectible item, you know? So there are certain advantages to having a few on hand.
Yeah. I mean, I would have a few on hand if I was like at a convention and stuff, but I'm just talking about like at home.
So that was actually part of the topic that Jake and I were talking about, was creating excess income and excess revenue at shows, at conventions, because I mean, hey, who doesn't want to make more money at a show, right?
Right.
And that's how we got onto the topic of making prints. I'm a huge collector of prints. I've got, you know, prints from artists literally all over the world, from New Zealand to Switzerland, all over Europe. I've got a few from people out in Asia. And most of them don't ever see the light of day because I want them to stay just as beautiful as they are now. And I know that with certain types of prints, they can fade a bit more over time, under direct sun exposure, if they're not in the right light conditions, if they're in a very moisture rich environment. So I tend to keep them out of the way and out of sight in a very cool, dry place most of the time. But I think the important thing is that, prints are great to have on hand if you have a large client base in the area. But if you're not traveling a whole lot, to have them on hand, when you're at home, it's like, cool, you can say that you have them. And if anyone ever hits you up for them to, buy one off of you, you can always mail one out. But if there's not really that much of a demand at home for them, because a lot of times it's like, well, why don't you come in? We can just do that as a tattoo,
Yeah.
And then that way you've got an original tattoo. If you like it that much that you want to buy a print of it, why not just get it tattooed? But a lot of times if you're out at a show, you're not going to have that option. People aren't always going to have the option to get tattooed by you. And even if they have the option, they might not be able to afford you. So that's one of the ways that you can go through and people can take a piece of you home with them, even if they can't afford to get tattooed by you.
Makes sense. That checks out.
Well, makes sense. Doesn't make sense. That's my 2 cents. See what I did there? See what I did there?
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
That's just what I found over the years. And I mean, I can talk about the advantages and disadvantages of printmaking and all that stuff, having artwork on hand for hours. But the bottom line is it's nice to be able to provide something that's affordable to everyone, just in case someone doesn't have the opportunity to get tattooed by you.
Yeah. Was all this conversation like on an episode of Fireside, or was it just you guys chit-chatting?
I don't know if it's been released yet. I think he's still doing some editing to it. And I don't think we filmed it until like 3 weeks ago. So it should be coming out soon, I think. Could be wrong, but I think it'll be out soon.
Sick, my dude.
Yeah. But in that episode, I go into all of the different printer type specs. I always try to tell people, if you're looking at getting a new printer, ask yourself this: what's the biggest print you want to make? Right? If you want to make prints that are 5 feet wide, you're going to need a 5 foot wide printer. If you only want to make prints that are letter sized, get a printer that can do maybe 11 by 17, right? Because you're not going to need anything, bigger than that. And that's if you want to do something that's outside the realm. I always try to recommend to people, whatever size you want to print at, if you're making prints, say you want to have a borderless 8 by 10, right? Well, make sure that you have a printer that can print 9 by 12, because you always want to have a little bit of a bleed margin on the edges for that print. And that's something it's pretty important, because then you just crop the image down. Say you've got like a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch bleed margin along the sides. You just crop it down, cut into that extra background, and now it's a perfect 8 by 10 that's borderless. Because a lot of printers, if you try to print edge to edge, they start to get a little bit fuzzy at the edges. So you have to keep that in mind. But any printer that prints with pigment-based ink, that's going to be like the ultimate key.
Hell yeah. I'm not in a situation right now to invest in a new printer, but it is on my to-do list eventually. In the meantime, I think I'm just going to consult you for prints.
Yeah, let me know. I've got a very, very small printing clientele base. And that's because I put a lot of time into color correction and color accuracy.
Yeah, your prints are phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, I just got a low battery warning, but I'm plugged in, so I didn't know if that interrupted the stream.
That's okay. I'll be honest with you. Every time Shannon's on here, I get distracted by her tattoos. So you've got amazing work. That's not my fault.
No, Shannon is really good. Shannon's a kick-ass.
Like, even though you're a Liverpool fan, I love your tattoos. Like, and that's the kind of style of work that I absolutely love as well. Like, you've got that very bold, traditional, but kind of neo-trad style Japanese stuff going on. And it's like, I want to do that, you know? Yeah, you too. Hold on. She's still typing.
Is this in the chat?
Yeah. She says, you guys are going to make me blush. Well, you know what? Even if you did blush, we wouldn't be able to see it behind all of those amazing tattoos.
Thank you. I see that.
She said, my friend Rodrigo Mello, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, did my bodysuit. That is phenomenal. And that's that level of commitment to get tattooed by one individual, right?
Your whole body by
whole
one
body
person.
To dedicate your body to one artist. That takes a level of commitment that's like, oh, wait, she's typing more. But wait, there's more.
I think I'm going to invest in one of those spiral Gamsol holder things where you just bounce the brush off the top and all of the pigment sinks to the bottom so that your Gamsol is clean.
I mean, you can do that, but I can also show you how to make one for like a few bucks.
With household supplies, anything
Pretty
I
much.
can find in my house right now. What is it? Tell me.
You're going to need an empty jam jar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I ate nothing but peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for like 2 months.
I am a mason
and have
jar
all of
whore.
these jars. Okay, good. You're going to need that. You're going to need a decent pair of pliers.
Got it.
A wire coat hanger.
Do not got it.
Okay.
Damn it.
So either find someone that has one if you wanted to do it on the ultra cheap, or you can go out to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever hardware stores around you, get some 4 or 6 gauge copper wire, bare copper wire, which actually bends way easier than a coat hanger. And all you need is a good pair of pliers. Take anything that's round, a jar, a piece of pipe, anything like that, and basically just coil that copper wire around it, throw it inside the mason jar, give it like a little spiral at the top of it to like close it off. And that's exactly what those are.
Makes sense. I was thinking of just cutting out some wire mesh in a circle and making it bend a little bit so that it raises above and sits like that. I also I've told you guys that I live across the street from a 24-hour donut store before. I also live 3 blocks away from an art store.
Shannon's face just lit up like it was 4th of July. She was like, what, 24-hour donuts?
Come visit. We will each grow a hula hoop of maple bars.
She's
Get
in.
it?
She's in. Let me know when this is going on too. I'll fly out with some camera stuff and we'll just do like a live. Can I bring my roller skates?
Obviously, duh. Oh, and right next to the donut store is a soccer field and a dog park. And I like to take my dog out to the soccer field / dog park at like 4 a.m., smoke some weed, grab a donut and just do laps, hang out, lay in the middle of the turf and stargaze.
Shannon just typed in, I'm bringing my dog.
I see that. You can bring your dog. You should. Jason, you're invited. Ricardo's got to come out too. Well, let's get Lauren out here and fun. West Coast party, because everything's always on the East Coast.
Sorry, I guess.
Sorry.
I mean, there's still a lot of really good stuff that goes down on the West Coast, but it usually happens like in the Southwest.
Yeah. Also, like all the reinventing community stuff seems to be on the East Coast.
That's because most of us are based on the East Coast. That's the only reason why.
I know. That's why we should have a West Coast party. Get out of your element. Come hang out with me.
I will say this, though. As much as most of the reinventing crew is East Coast based, some of my favorite artists in the world are actually based out of the West Coast of Canada. Like all the way out in British Columbia.
Steve Moore's in British Columbia.
What?
Steve Moore's in British Columbia, right?
Yes, he is.
In BC. Yeah.
James, Texas, right out by Calgary, which isn't bad. It's like an hour flight from BC. But like, there is something in the water out in the West Coast of Canada. I don't know what it is, but I need to like be out there. A friend of mine that actually works out by me in the suburbs of Philadelphia is actually considering moving up to Winnipeg.
It's the whole Cascade Mountain range. Nice. Yep.
So
yeah, I want to make a trip out to the East Coast sometime. Maybe try to find a place to guest spot for a weekend so that I can like make a couple of bucks on the side while I'm hanging out, or just take a vacation. Essentially, I haven't taken a vacation in a while.
Well, I'll tell you this. If you decide to come out to my neck of the woods, not only will you have a free place to stay, I'll get you hooked up with a guest spot if you want one, but I mean, we're going to be busy most of the time anyway, so I don't know how much tattooing you'll actually be doing. I'll take you out to the Muter Museum of Medical Oddities in Philadelphia.
Oh, this sounds amazing.
It's absolutely glorious. You want to talk about inspiration? They have drawers filled with things that they've extracted from people's stomachs.
I love it. I love it so much. One of my favorite museums is the Museum of Death in LA.
In fact, rumor has it, there may next year at some point in time, there may be an organized trip, guided trip out to some of the more interesting places in Philadelphia next year. I'm currently working with a source on going through and actually getting that organized enough that I can be like, yo, here's the event details, come on out. It'll be a week-long thing. We'll do the Philadelphia Museum of Art, the Rodin Museum, Barnes Foundation, the Muter Museum. We'll take a day trip up to New York City. We'll take a day trip down to Baltimore, go and see the Tattoo History Museum in Baltimore. There's all types of awesome stuff. We can go to Coney Island and see where, you know, American tattooing has some of its hardcore roots. Like it's an awesome awesome area in like this little megapolis.
That sounds amazing. And I'm in. Oh, can we visit Ricardo and then go over and take over Hyperspace Studios?
Well, I was going to say, if you're going to head out to visit Ricardo, you may want to swing by Guy's place and visit Hyperspace.
I want to visit everybody. I just want to do like a tour around the States and hang out with everybody.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
And
then we could eventually end up in Miami to visit with Bruno for a little while.
Bruno. Love Bruno.
Yeah, he just opened his new studio. Awesome. Right out in Miami. Yeah. And I've got a whole bunch of other friends out in Fort Lauderdale as well. So I'm sure
there's a shit ton of people in Fort Lauderdale. Yep.
Flort? Where is Flort?
Lauderdale. Yeah, there's a bunch of tattoo artists out there, isn't there?
Oh yeah, Fort Lauderdale is huge.
Yeah, I hear that name mentioned all the time as far as places where tattooers are from.
You know, but if we were going to do like an East Coast tour, I would say let's start up at the top. We'll start in like Boston area. Hit a couple of spots there, drive down through New York City, do like a day in New York City, through Philadelphia, hit a couple of spots in Philly. Then we'll hit Baltimore. We'll head down through Virginia and we'll eventually end up in Georgia. We'll stop by Ink and Dagger, say hi to Russ Abbott. And then from there, we can drive down through Florida. You know, I mean, we could organize like this road trip. We could probably rent an RV and just do the whole thing. I think that would be amazing.
How long do you think until we get sick of each other? Like, you know, road trips cause fights.
That's okay.
Somebody's gonna get
That's why we just bring some foam padded baseball bats with us. We get angry, we step outside, we beat the hell out of each other, we get back in, and we keep going.
I'll make sure to bring a lot of snacks so that everybody is fed.
Yeah, and it's pretty. It's actually really, really difficult to make me angry. Yeah, as long as like people aren't being like ignorant or, you know, in any type of way, what's the word I'm looking? As long as you're not being ignorant or bigoted in any way, we'll get along just fine. Wow. I'm probably one of the easiest people to travel with because most of the time it's like, I don't give a shit. I'm down for the journey. And that's what really matters to me.
I get pissed off every morning when I wake up and I'm all like, this shit again? This economy?
Not me, man. I wake up every morning and I'm like, awesome. What adventures can I have today? What kind of chaos can I bring to the world that's going to shake things up? How many awesome tattoos am I going to see today? Oh, wait, Shannon's here. Never mind. We've hit the apex already, and it's what? Just after 1. Tattoo travel rule. We only talk about tattoos and gas stop stations. Yes.
Tattoo. You only talk about tattoos? I need to throw in my dirty jokes somewhere or else I might implode.
Yeah, I think if we could actually get people into that idea that would be interested in doing like a tattoo RV road trip, I think that would be absolutely incredible.
It is a lot to commit to.
Well, I mean, you figure 2 weeks, we can hit the entire East Coast.
We need to plan rest days, like days of doing.
I mean,
days where you're just parked at a park and you spend the day hanging out and chilling.
Absolutely, but I mean, there's also going to be plenty of time resting while we drive from place to place.
True.
Keep that in mind, right? Because there's only going to be one person driving.
Yeah.
So
I'm down.
like you've got rest time to just like kick back, draw, paint, nap, whatever,
Should get
while
Kira
someone
involved
else
in
is
this.
driving. Yo, we could do that. That would be absolutely amazing.
I think we should involve
Like
Kira too.
all
Because
it
I
would
know that
take
she
is
wants to
like
travel.
4 or 5 people. We could make that happen.
Hell yeah, my dude.
Maybe find like some type of a sponsor or something like that to like sponsor us doing that. That would be willing to put out money to rent an RV, and we could just do like a vinyl wrap around the RV and just drive it all over the place.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
And actually, if we get a tattoo convention promoter to like sponsor us, we could just advertise those tattoo shows as we go. We could have like a live blog and everything.
Hell yeah.
So anyone out there that might be that you might know that might be interested in like, forking out some money for us to do like national advertising as a road trip for them, let me know. Maybe we could even get like a TV station involved.
We could do a lot for tattoo education on the road, especially visiting museums, advertising for other shops, going around and hitting up different places, slamming some interviews on the side.
That's what I'm saying. Like we could do some
That would
serious
be a
educational.
really packed 2 weeks.
It would.
Not for the faint of heart. I'm down for the challenge.
Well, I mean, it would be a lot less than if we decided to try to hit like the whole country.
Yeah, we're gonna just start small and work our way up.
That's why I'm thinking like maybe if we did it, we could start out with like the East Coast, hit like a couple of key major places, and then kind of go from there and just see how that goes. But I figure in 2 weeks, we could do the entire East Coast, no problem.
Hell yeah. That'd be pretty fun.
Like straight 14 days. Yeah, we could do the whole East Coast. Because it only takes 20 hours to drive from, I want to say, Philadelphia to Fort Lauderdale or Miami. And that's doing the speed limit. And I don't know if we would do the speed limit the whole time. So the sponsors could serve as umbrella organizations to gain funds towards a project. Yes. I just don't know who to reach out to about that.
Pigments. Yeah. I
write grants and run a nonprofit. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that could work. If we maybe got a grant to do that, that would be cool. I don't know if we could get enough money to get the kind of like luxury RV I would like to get. Because I'm talking like, I want to get like the best RV out there.
Yeah, but for a first time thing, we've got to start out small. We're testing the waters, work our way up to something big as it gains. Like first year, you can make it an annual thing. First year, it's just like 1.5 weeks. Hit like 10 days, hit like 6 or 7 stops and have rest days in between, and do a couple of interviews, have a sponsor, have a small RV, maybe do some camping, and then the next year you can, after you've had that under your belt, you can work your way up.
It's very, very good point.
Just always, I've learned from my own trying to set things up that trying to go big at the very, very start can lead to a lot of disappointment right away, because nothing ever starts big.
Well, that all depends on your initial motivation behind it, right? Because if you look at things just as going out there and enjoying the journey, then you're never going to be disappointed.
True. True, true, true.
You know, it's when you set expectations initially, that's when that disappointment kicks in. We just had Black Hive Tattoos say, if you're headed to Fort Lauderdale or Miami, once you leave Ink and Dagger, you'll most likely be swinging down I-95. Swing into Jack's and say hello. You can find me in Launchpad under Nick Wagner. Nick, we will put that on our list of places to go. Love
Hell
to
yeah.
stop by, interview you, do some video stuff. I think that would be pretty awesome.
Hot diggity dog, I'm down.
Yeah, I think that
I'm
would
not
be
sure if
amazing,
I will.
especially if we did it where we could stop by and do a couple of conventions along the way. I think that would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Nick said, Black Hive Tattoo is here. Inksmith is here. Myra O's Swan Tattoo is here. Clark Seeger's The Texas Sun, on and on and on. Plan a rest day in Jack's because we have a lot of killer tattooing here. Yes, you do. Jacksonville is definitely a great place to go for like tattoo culture, tattoo studios, great tattoo artwork, and great weather too, from what I hear. Shannon's typing away furiously. I can hear the key clicks in the background.
I am down
I
for
can.
anything, because I have pretty much zero experience with the East Coast, so I'm down to just fucking tag along and enjoy the journey.
So this is one thing that I found from personal experiences is that the East Coast and the West Coast have very different vibes.
Oh yeah,
regardless of where you go. I find the West Coast to be a bit more laid back, a bit more relaxed,
much slower. People walk slower
much
here.
slower pace of life, you know, where people are really enjoying things. On the East Coast, you have a whole bunch of hustle and bustle. Everything's on a time crunch. Everything needs to get done. You know, there's a lot to do and less time to do it in. It's a lot more high stress and a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not productivity. It's just a lot more pressure, you know, because there's a lot that a lot of people want to get accomplished in a very short period of time so that they can move on to the next thing. Whereas on the West Coast, I find that it's more like, yeah, it'll happen. We're getting there. It's coming along, you know?
I feel like I actually recently had this conversation with a lady I met at the dog park the other day. She's from New York, and she actually moved over here to Portland to check herself and to have to just calm down and have a chiller pace at life. And we were just talking about how like on the West Coast, we're just vibing and hanging out, enjoying the ride. We're doing what we got to do and stopping to smell the roses along the way. But I feel like from the people I know from the East Coast, for example, when I'm walking with somebody, I have to actually like tap their shoulder and have them slow down. And I'm not a slow walker. They're just on the verge of running. Literally, it's physical too. And they're just always like, got to get up, got to get going, got to hustle. And I don't know, man. I smoke too much weed. I feel like that is so stressful. But I also understand that like that's a way of living, and a lot of people can get a lot done doing that. But you know, to each their own.
Yeah. And I mean, so having primarily grown up on the East Coast, it's very, you get used to it, but you also see the benefits behind living in that kind of a way, right? Because what someone on the West Coast, it might take them a few months to do or get around to doing, you know, hypothetically speaking, people on the East Coast will have it done in a few weeks. And that means you can get more done, which means you can actually enjoy the time that you have when you're not doing things a little bit more, you know? At least that's just kind of what I've seen.
Yeah. But there is a point I'd like to bring up. If you're so used to getting things done immediately, are you also used to putting more things on your to-do list? Do you actually, when you finish things, do you actually stop and enjoy it? Or do you go on to the next project to keep moving and keep up that hustle and bustle?
So I get anxiety when I don't have something to work on, like really bad anxiety. I feel like I should be doing something. And I think that's partly from being on the East Coast for so long. But that's just, to me, there's so much that I want to accomplish. And yes, I know things take time. I get it. I'm not a stranger to that. Rome was not built in a day. I'm not going to reach. It wasn't. I'm telling you.
What?
Shannon's like, yes, it was. Yes, it was. She's like, they did all of that in like 24 hours, 22 technically, because they took a lunch break.
Yeah, that was a long lunch break.
Yeah, they built all of Rome in 22 hours. Yeah.
But
no,
yeah,
they didn't. It took a long time, and I get that. But like, to me, I understand that. And I'm willing to accept the fact that, yeah, things do take time. But there's still a lot that needs to be done. And especially if you're the only person that's going through pushing yourself, it's like, okay, what do I need to do next? What do I need to do now? What's the next step after this? Because if I can get a head start on that, that's going to put me one step closer to where I ultimately want to be.
true. And that makes sense. What I like to do is after I accomplish something and I get it done, instead of thinking what needs to be done next, I like to just sit there and be like, I did something, and I'm going to sit and enjoy it for a minute before I even think about the next task.
See, I'll sit and I'll enjoy it, but I'm always constantly planning what has to be done next. Because for me, if I don't keep track of that, I'm going to stagnate. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to do anything. And I'm just going to be like, yeah, whatever. And to me, it's like, if I hit that point where I'm sitting back and I'm saying, yeah, whatever, there's other people that are going to be around me that are going to be moving forward at a faster pace, you know, and it's something that I've talked to a lot of different artists about. We are in a very competitive industry where every single day new tattooers are popping up that are just blowing stuff away, that are on like an insanely new level of, holy crap, how did this guy do this to this level? And he's only been doing it for 2 years, right? That's the kind of industry that we're in, which means in order to stay competitive, we have to push a little bit harder. And that's essentially what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm trying to reach that kind of a level to be that competitive with those people that I really look up to. And that means that I have to work harder. Nick said, just keep moving. I get too antsy when I stop or slow down. I completely agree, man. I completely agree. But that's, once again, I think that's a very big difference between the East Coast mentality and a West Coast mentality. Shannon said, Tribal Tattoo Tour 2020, found it. I hate typing. I'm so far behind the convo. Now she's just laughing. That's awesome. I don't know. I just always feel like there's more that I need to do.
I don't like to put myself under that much pressure. I give myself anxiety and panic attacks if I work myself up and set up too many high expectations. And the competing mentality is something I'm trying to shift away from because I end up beating myself up too much. In the end, I'm not trying to be the best in the world. I'm just trying to be the best that I can be.
Which is true. And that's a
So
very
other
good way to
people's
look at it.
progression, yeah, other people's progression and how fast they're moving along and where they're hitting has no effect on my skills and my improvement.
It's a very good way to look at things. You know, but if you never push yourself to see what you're capable of, how do you know what level you can reach?
True. But competing with yourself isn't not pushing yourself. It's just not measuring your own success by how quickly other new tattooers are jumping onto the
No, and you're
fame
absolutely
thing.
correct. That shouldn't be a factor at all when it comes down to what we do day in and day out. You should only ever really truly compete with yourself. You're absolutely correct.
But it is nice to know what's going on in the world to keep yourself at a pace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Set up some, you can set having other artists to not compare yourself to or compete with, but to see where they're at can help you adjust your own realistic expectations for yourself and to help you set goals. Like I can look at an artist and be like, that person just went from not knowing how to draw a circle to nailing realism portraits in like 3 years. What the hell? I want to make a goal for myself like that. And so it's always nice to use other people as inspiration to make your own goals.
Yeah, I think that, and that's part of what really drives me is that I'm constantly always inspired by other artists. And it's like, whoa, that's something I've never even considered before. You know, how did they do that? Now I want to try it. Now I want to get out there and be like, oh, okay, that's how they did it. You know, it's a constant challenge. And I enjoy that challenge a lot. It's part of
Hell
why
yeah, I
I
do.
got into this, because it was challenging. You know, I'm one of those people that I wasn't necessarily born with that like artistic spark, or that raw artistic talent.
Like
I've had to,
Ricardo.
yeah, like, I mean, well, not just him, he's been busting his ass for a long time. But you know, for me, it's like I have to work my butt off just to be at the level that I'm at. You know, so, and that's partly because like, yeah, no, I had to work really, really hard to get to be where I am and learn as much as I could, as fast as I could, so that when push came to shove, I could turn around and say, yes, I have the credibility to do this because I know this, this, and this. Because that's not something that I was necessarily born with. So to me, it's just always a constant challenge. And it's like, oh, okay, how can I push what I'm doing a little bit further? How can I do a little bit more? How can I really bring this out? Or how can I really accent that or get outside my comfort zone? And that's, believe it or not, almost why I didn't even want to finish working on this shark, because this is very inside my comfort zone. And it's something that I've been actively trying to move outside of for a little while. So I've started to take on a lot of other stuff like oil projects and stuff like that. So. Yeah,
Nice.
Nick.
Yeah.
Nick made a comment in the YouTube. Nick, we'd love to have you on one day. If you want, hit me up on Launchpad. By the way, big shout out to Launchpad, the new tattoo smart community. Absolutely amazing platform for artists. If you guys don't know, you need to know, but Launchpad is where it's at. It's absolutely incredible. Seth Mushrush just joined us. Always happy to have him on because Seth's awesome.
Seth.
Don't worry, Shannon. I still love your tattoos, but like Seth and I go back. We go back.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. What's happening?
Not a whole lot. How are you, my dude?
Good. Getting ready to work on line drawing for today's piece.
Nice. We can't see you.
I'm working
No.
on it. Hang on. It's the first time I'm using my phone for this.
Oh.
Show us your beautiful face, Seth Mushrush.
Hang on here.
Oh, Medusa, are you flirting?
Oh,
I would
man.
never flirt with anyone. Ew.
Got it.
I would never.
There
It's
we
like,
are.
I'm sorry, but they are not of the canine persuasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to be a dog that's the size of a cat, and I'll be good.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you might get Medusa's attention.
Maybe.
Yeah, if it's a good day and she's in a good mood.
Does any animal in general. You could be
There
a
he
turkey.
is.
Oh my God, I love you. Hello.
What are you guys working on
Where's your
today?
wisdom?
Are you still working on that shark?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, this is so I finished up the chrysanthemum, framed that, hung that up in the studio. And you know, so I always like to have at least one project on deck for Sundays that's
Sure.
just a Sunday project. Because Lord knows I've been working on so many other art projects over the past few weeks that I don't want to end up doing something and then finishing it and then starting something else next Sunday and then finishing that throughout the week and then starting something else, you know, and just having all of these started projects. So I've been really trying to focus on just doing one art project for Sundays.
Yeah.
And then everything else is for me, you know, for
Nice.
whenever I get home from work. But the next project I'm working on is going to be pretty big. It's digital, but it's going to be more of like a printing project.
Okay.
I'm trying to get anywhere between 15 to, I want to say maybe 21 designs together.
Nice.
That are all small 5x6 kind of designs, but I want to get them all and eventually transfer them over to one big Photoshop document, print them all out on one big piece of paper so that I can just roll that up and take that to shows with me.
Smart.
You know, as opposed to going through and having like a binder full of like individual designs and then risk the idea that someone might reach in and grab one of the designs and, you know, take that with them or take photos of it. It's like, it's all on one big piece and I can put a big black Sharpie X through whatever designs have been done.
That's a really good idea. I'm not surprised. Those are usually the only kind you have, right?
I mean, no, believe it or not, I don't have great ideas that often. I don't. I can admit that. But when I have good ideas, they're usually really awesome.
I do not often drink Dos Equis, but when I do, or drink beer, but when I do.
I choose Dos Equis.
Yes.
I am the most interesting man in the world.
Yes.
My 2 cents is worth $37 and change.
I do not always draw and tattoo medieval dragons. But when I do,
I create the series Game of Thrones. But when I do, they have to turn it into an entire TV show.
It has to be the whole thing.
Yes.
All right. Good to go here.
Now I'm thinking maybe I'll start making these a little bit darker.
Medusa, what do you have going on today?
We
Good
can't
talk.
hear you.
I said, what do you have going on today, Medusa?
Oh, I was accidentally muted. Oops. I am fucking around with some oils, playing around, got no expectations for this relationship, so I am okay with whichever direction it goes.
Nice.
And then I'm working later. I'm doing a half sleeve tattoo of the Horned King from the Black Cauldron, and it's super cute and super fun.
I am unfamiliar with that. I'll have to check that one out.
Old 80s cartoon movie, very cheesy, very cute, classic.
Nice.
What I was trying to say while I forgot that I was muted was it because I stepped away for a second. Is that dragon something you're drawing?
No, so this is a reference. I'm actually
Okay.
tracing this one out. Yeah, the client sent this to me. He has the bottom half of his arm is a Roman or Spartan soldier type of a deal where it's got some like war motif in the background, all black and gray. And he's looking to do this type of dragon at the top, and he sent me 3 of them, and I was like, well, this one's so damn good, I don't really think I need to do anything else but just trace it out. I mean, I'm hyped to tattoo it. I mean, you guys know my deal with wanting to do portraits and things, so I mean, I'm all for drawing things, you know, making my own creation out of them, but at certain times I feel like I'm not going to draw it any better than what I'm being shown, you know.
Right.
So I might as well just do it and do what I know how to do with it. I'm looking forward to it. There's some really cool, like glowing ambient light effects in here. Shout out to my boy Sean Foy with all that stuff. I love studying his work and just seeing how he breaks that stuff down. So I'm excited to have the opportunity to use it.
Yeah, ambient light can be really tricky.
Yeah, you got to. I think it's about really simplifying it, right? Like, you know, so often you try to like, you're trying to match everything, you know, exactly, and it's more about really like pushing and exaggerating the darks and the lights in certain areas and knowing how it's going to heal, you know, like.
Right.
Sometimes you take a lot of time trying to get all these little like tertiary values in there, and I don't think they hold up quite the same when you're trying to get like that big pop.
That's a good point. It's a very, very good point.
Simplify.
This is what I've got going.
Let's see. Oh, I can't see Medusa.
Let me spotlight you for everyone, Medusa.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh wow, look at that thing. That's crazy looking.
Thanks.
Awesome.
I've been really enjoying playing with these organic, snake-like, spindly vine shapes, and with the concept of a portal.
Yeah.
Like
it's already got like that ambient, like that light coming through. It's really cool. That thing's going places for sure.
It's like a window.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got some visions in my head for things I want to play with it. Right here, I painted, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like different highlighted colors in the cloudy sky.
Yeah.
Like pinks and blues that are super subtle that I'm very proud of.
Yeah, for sure.
And,
you know, people don't use
yeah.
those pinks and oranges in the skies. Like when you're mixing sky color and trying to get like a natural look to it, you gotta drop some of that orange and pink in there and blend it with the blue.
The sky has the most vibrant neon colors.
Yeah.
Like you gotta use those extreme colors. You gotta, or else it just seems muddy and muted.
Well, it's important too that I think when you're exercising that stuff to not over blend them. Let your eyes blend it on the canvas, you know, because then it will get muddy. You know, you pushing oranges into blues and stuff too much, but just enough, just a little bit of subtle blends, you know, where the hue change is happening, and it makes all the difference in the world.
I'm also trying to practice blending colors by not actually mixing them, but putting them next to each other.
Yes.
So,
So
like,
that's
and instead of a red and an orange, I'm just putting yellow and red next to
yeah.
each other so that your eyes blend them. But yeah, this is my second ever attempt at oils. My first ever was at BYOB Paradise with Christian Perez at his seminar. So
Nice.
it's taken me almost a complete year for me to actually circle back around and being like, remember that one time I tried oils? Let's try it again. So I'm very proud of myself for only my second chance, but I'm also keeping it realistic. I have no expectations. This is just me getting to know the paint and learn my brushes and learn the medium.
But also be proud too that you thought to revisit that information that you learned a year ago. You know what I mean? Like that's rad to be able to hold on to stuff like that and kind of pull it back out of the filing cabinet in our head and exercise it again and go, oh, you know what? I tried that for a little bit. Let me revisit that again. You get a year's worth of work and experience under your belt from that. And it's like, it's kind of like how they say, like, they're trying to like reverse engineer alien technology. And like over the course of time, it's like our technology has to catch up to theirs first.
Yeah.
And so like you learn these things and then you're like, all right, well, let me go play around for a year and then I'll come back to it and see where I'm at,
The painting I made at that seminar did not make the flight back. It was oil, so it didn't dry. And I was like,
but
I'm
it's
gonna
up
carry
there.
it in saran wrap and like put it in a very corner part of my luggage so that nothing's really touching it.
Yeah.
But no. It didn't. Everybody's like, just put it in the window for a couple of days and it should dry out enough for your flight. Nope.
Did not happen.
No.
Well, at least it's still in the brain though, you know what I mean? That's all information, it's all exercise.
Yeah. What is
That's
the
where
word
you need to pick up something. They actually have an oil additive now. It's called Cobalt Dryer. Use it outside because it's like super, super toxic. But that will dry oil paints overnight.
Yeah. What part of oil painting isn't super toxic?
Well, I mean, Gamsol, believe it or not, is a lot less toxic than the old school mineral spirits.
The classes I've been taking with David Kassan, he is solvent-free oil painting. So the oil paints themselves might have a little bit of toxicity to it, or a lot, depending on what type. But his story was that he was, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he was a stay-at-home dad and painting, and he realized that the fumes from these solvent, odor-free solvents that he's using, like, and I use the same Gamsol and stuff like that, and there's no odor to it or low odor. There's still methane that's released from it, and that settles to the ground. So he's got like his child's like crawling around down at like ankle level where all of the methane from his paints are settling. So he did a little bit of research and found a way to, he uses like, I think, a walnut alkyd, and a couple other things. And, I asked him, well, what do you use to like clean your brushes? He's like, soap and water, man. He's like, it just, you get grease on your hands, you use soap and water to clean it off. I figure, why won't it clean it off a brush? And I think we're so quick to go to these like solvents, and you got to use all of these different things that, the old masters use and things like that, or new technology to clean up and take care of your studio or blend things. And there are things that are available that are not only like, low toxicity, but no toxicity,
Dawn dish soap is a godsend for oil paint cleanup.
Yep.
It's designed to break down grease and oil. Why not use it to clean your brushes?
Yeah, they use it to clean pelicans, right?
Yeah, yep. I was about to say, like, the best use for Dawn dish soap is if you have a greasy duck.
So
greasy duck with Dawn.
I recently did that with a bird. I found a sparrow in the alleyway behind near where the shop is in Media. And I drove by and saw something kind of fluttering on the ground, and it did another loop around and went back, and it was a sparrow that had landed in some grease that was coming out of the dumpster from a restaurant, but it was hot out. So it was just like stuck to the ground. I real carefully got it, was able to take it up off the ground. And I brought it. It's funny enough, my client was clowning me because she's walking in as I'm walking out with this bird in my hand, and she goes, "What happened?" You know, and I explained to her, and I said, I'm going to take it over to the cat hospital across the street and see if they can help me, you know, clean it up. She goes, "You're taking a bird to the cat hospital?"
You're feeding the cat.
Yeah. The cats need something to rehab with, so why not a bird
like
that can't fly?
It's already halfway to being deep fried. So
yeah. Well, they gave me a little cup of Dawn, and I was able to clean it up at the shop, and they couldn't take it because it wasn't actually
a
dying.
cat
It just needed to
hospital.
be cleaned.
Yeah,
cat hospital gave me some. Yeah, it's just a veterinarian. They just call it a cat hospital. So they but they take all animals there, and so they gave me a cup of soap and was able to clean it up. Made a little box for it, and I guess it's okay. So it flew away.
Yeah, I think you guys both touched on a great little topic there for discussion, and that's optically mixing. And that's something that I've struggled with for a long time. And it's still something I struggle with today, is getting used to that. Your eye is going to blend it together. You don't have to have the smoothest gradients or the, you know, most silky smooth color blends out there. Your eye is going to blend. Your eye is going to average out things and make things appear a lot smoother, regardless of how you execute it. That's not saying like half-ass it, but
no. Well, what David does is he's in, you know, his classes. I recommend anybody out there trying to learn how to manipulate oil paints or some new techniques and stuff, definitely sign up for his seminars, because they're online. There's a lot of them online, him and his wife both, and they're fantastic. And his stuff looks ultra realistic, like incredibly realistic. And he's all about stitching. He and his wife do the same thing. They have this method of stitching color together, like you're weaving a tapestry, right? And they're using tiny strokes for each area and just using whatever color needs to be used, and they're just putting them next to each other and kind of like fitting them together, you know, and not over blending, you know. And I've taken some classes before, and some of the portrait work that I've done with oils has been a lot of, you know, blocking color in and then blending it with a brush, and, you know, a dry brush, and then going back and, you know, blocking more in and blending that out, and then glazing and stuff. And I mean, it's really, I've worked on it a few times. It's definitely not an easy technique to kind of pick up, especially when you're used to blending things so much, but it's one to practice for sure. And if you have the availability to take his class, I would definitely do it. But the stitching of color is amazing, because just like you said, Jason, when the eye blends the color for you, I feel like there's something more organic and real about that. Because like, if you look at your hand, it's not a smooth blend of different colors and things like that. There are all sorts of varied hues and values just sitting right next to each other, you know. And when we look at it, we're like, oh, it's peach, or it's brown, or it's, you know, it's red, or whatever it is. But there's so many variables
I was going to say that. All that is your mind averaging all of those different tones together.
100%. Yeah. That's a good word to use for it. It averages the tones together, the hues together. Yeah, for sure.
Once again, circling back to what I said before, I don't always have good ideas, but when I do, they're usually pretty good.
They're prolific.
Now, I always just keep thinking about the pointillism style of artwork. And, you know, look at Seurat's paintings, right?
Sure.
Look at, you know, his one of the beachgoers. I forget the exact title of it, but that's all super tiny little dots, right? But as you step further back, all of those dots average together to create those different colorful tones, to create that one image. Don't get me wrong, his paintings are absolutely massive in size. They're enormous, but they're beautifully executed to the point that your eye is going to optically mix it without any kind of an issue. Right. So it's all about averaging, in my opinion, at least.
Very cool. Everybody have a good week at work. Some fun tattoos.
Yeah.
Did a couple of them. Some Japanese fighting frogs.
What is that?
Yeah. What is a Japanese fighting frog?
And can we see a picture?
Us.
Yeah, I can
The people
airdrop.
demand to see it.
Let me do this. Not the best picture in the world, but there we go. So basically, think of like Ninja Turtles, right? Fighting Ninja Turtles fighting, essentially.
Yeah.
Only these are frogs. Where was that over here?
Started out big strikes.
Good. Share screen. Cool. So this is it. Small little jammer, a lot of fun, a lot of color.
Another biggie.
What is going on here? Go away. There we go.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
A couple of little guys, and he's thinking about building off of that, doing like a whole scene of like, you know, more traditional style Japanese, single line weight, nothing crazy. You know, he originally wanted to do a lot more flat color, and I was like, let me just throw a little bit more value in here. Trust me, you'll like it.
Yeah.
And he was down for it, so I was like, all right, cool. We'll still keep some of it pretty flat, but like, trust me when I say like, you're gonna like this. And he did, and he absolutely loved it.
Awesome.
So now we're thinking about doing like sticking with like a whole almost Japanese style theme. We're thinking about doing like a squirrel or like a trash panda wearing like a Tibetan monk's robe.
What is
you
a
know,
trash
maybe
panda?
a raccoon.
Oh my God.
Yep.
That's
Trash pandas
amazing.
or raccoons. I have a question about clientele
Yeah.
and managing them, actually. So I have a couple of clients who are great in almost every aspect, except I don't feel like they trust the artistic process enough. Like they're always asking, what are you doing there? What's going on with that? Like, and like watching and like almost micromanaging. And I'm just like, trust me, I know what the vision is that you have. We've talked about it extensively. Just trust me that I am making this happen. It's a process. It's not gonna, like, a house doesn't look like a house when it's first being built. It looks like a fucking bunch of boards and a little bit of concrete and a hole in the ground. But I need to work on getting my clients to trust me so that they're not always freaking out while I'm tattooing them, being like, what are you doing? What is that for? Blah, 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 you know?
Are you drawing in front of them?
No, I'm talking about like during the tattoo process.
Oh,
Walk
I
them
see.
through the process. Walk them
Yeah.
through and be like, okay, cool. So just got done the outlines. Now we're going to go into the black and gray shading. And what that's going to do is that's going to give us our base foundational value. From there, that's going to like block out some of the lighter and darker areas so that we've got a bit of a clearer vision as far as where the highlights and shadows are going to go. Right? I tend to do that with most of my clients, and they love it. Even the ones that don't care. They're like, yeah, whatever, man, just do your thing. But like,
Yep.
sometimes people need that kind of explanation. There's nothing you can really do to get around that.
Yeah. I
I
feel
wish
like
there was
even
an
when I'm
easier
trying
way
to
do it.
explain the process, some people feel like they are, I guess, from a collector's point of view, I would imagine that they probably have a very specific thing in their mind and are very panicky about the commitment of having a permanent thing on their body, and they need it to be perfect because they're scared of essentially the fact that it is permanent. So I think some people tend to get a little micromanagey or a little bit panicky and freak out during the process because they don't really understand. Some folks think that they are part of the process.
Yeah. Yes, Shannon,
And there
true.
is definitely, as Russ Abbott would say, there is definitely a price tier for people that want to be a part of the process, but that's not necessarily, the way that all clients are. If people want to have more input, if they want to be more involved in the process of, drawing, designing, placement, line weight, color choices, whatever, cool. The more input you want to give me, the more I'm going to increase the price.
I feel like, Jason's got a good point with, kind of, it's like a preemptive strike. If you start walking them through the process beforehand, they don't have an opportunity to really question anything that's going on. And then after a while, it'll just become like white noise to them. You're talking about what it is you're going to do. And you're like, oh, okay. Like he said, whatever you want to do, it's fine.
Yep.
But a lot of that too is confidence in the way you're conveying the information. Don't let them dictate to you. They've already hired you for the job, and they're trusting you to that point. And you don't want to be cold to them, by any means, because it is a service industry. But if they've already given you that much trust, it's not helpful when they start taking it back by questioning what you're doing. If it's different if they're like, oh, hey, what are you thinking about for this part? And you're telling them what you're thinking about doing. And that's they're trying to get inside our brain. They're trying to pick our brain and see where we're at with something. But to actually start dictating how they feel things are going to look or whatever that's another ball of wax altogether. Like I said, they've already hired us to do the job. And there's a reason why they're sitting in our chair. If they were uncomfortable with it, they shouldn't have come in. But I definitely think there's a tightrope to be walked with some of that, especially if they're apt to get more tattoos or cool tattoos. Because I've had some clients that are regulars and they spend a lot of money at the shop and they get really good tattoos. They have great ideas. But every now and again, they start getting like, maybe they're unsure of the idea to begin with, and that's when, if I recognize that out of the gate, it's like, well, maybe we need to think a little bit more about this, because it can't be a situation where I've already begun the process and now you're starting to change your mind about how you want it to look or question my process and how I handle things. Like you were saying, Medusa, if a house doesn't look like a house until it's done being built,
So now here's a question for you based on your years of experience, because I ran into this situation the other day and it kind of threw me for a loop. Had someone come in and I originally had them booked out for, small little wraparound wrist tattoo of like some viney leaves, which seems to be a growing thing, which is awesome because that stuff's usually really easy to do. Right. And, had the design printed, set, ready. All I had to do was run the stencil, 3 different sizes set out for them so that they could pick what size they wanted, based on which would fit the best. And they were like, yeah, so I kind of changed my mind and wanted to do like an upper arm, like half sleeve wraparound. Very different flow to the viney leaves, very different size. you know, it just almost completely different design in general. And it's like, okay,
So they just changed their mind altogether on you.
pretty much, and didn't even bother to tell me.
Well, then they're going to need another appointment.
Yeah.
You can't be put on the spot like that and be expected to do your best work. I mean, you know, if it's something you need to prepare for, I've definitely had clients kind of shift gears on me like that. I tell them straight up and very confidently, you know, I'm going to need more time to prepare this. This is vastly different than what we originally discussed. You're not talking about changing the size of something on a copy machine or adding a few more win bars or taking away a few leaves. Like, you're talking about a completely different canvas, a different composition. And they need to afford you the opportunity to be able to provide them with, you know, your best work.
So we just had a comment from Nick Wagner in the YouTube, who said, at a certain point, I remind the client that they came to me to execute this vision, and they have to give me more leash with every project we do. There's a reason they are there, right? Let me do my job, and your job is, you know, to give me the inspiration and, you know, basically sit still. But this is what we do. This is what we've been doing for a long time. This is what our expertise is in. We've got the experience necessary. You know, let me do what I do. And, you know, I do have a tendency to agree with that to an extent. I always like to play the extreme customer service perspective where it's like, cool, here's what we're going to do now. What do you think? Do you like this? Is this what you had in mind?
Right.
You know, I'm always asking for client input, and you're right. It's like a preemptive strike. They oftentimes they don't get the chance to sit down and question things. It's like, well, this was a decision you made, not me.
Right.
You know, I'm executing it, but if this is what you said you wanted, then this is what you got.
And also have to
So-
be careful though, too. Like I said, you know, here's the thing, and here's the catch 22 with it all really is that, you know, we are a service industry. You know, you should never, you know, if you can get that information across to a client without seeming like they're lucky that you're there. We're lucky they're there to come to us. I mean, these people don't have to get tattooed at all. We have to be confident in the way that we, you know, speak to them and deliver our knowledge and our experience. But you don't want to be completely dismissive, you know? So that's where you're saying like that customer service thing, like make them feel like they're involved. Hey, this is where my head's with this particular idea. What do you think? And then let them say what they think, still knowing full well that we're going to do what it is that we do. Because we know how to drive them to, it's like you wouldn't tell a pilot how to fly the plane, right? Like you get on the plane, you greet the pilot, you agree that he's going to take you to this destination, but you don't hop in the cockpit and go, you know, I think maybe you should be at a higher altitude, and, you know, let them get you there, you know, for sure. But just, you know, you don't want to be completely dismissive. You know, I've never walked onto a plane and been flipped off by a pilot. You know what I mean?
right.
And been dismissed. You know, they always greet you and they're polite, and, you know, so there's definitely that fine line with that, you know. And a lot of that, I'm sorry, real quick, a lot of that comes across too in the pricing, right? You know, you charge a specific price, you charge everybody like they're not going to tip you. You don't tell them, you know, when it comes to pricing, why don't we say, or let's go for, and then hit them with it. No, you charge what you charge, and that's the price. And when they ask how much something's going to cost, it's this per hour or it's this per day, and that is what it is. And a lot of times that type of delivery of information in the process, or what it's going to cost them, gives them more confidence. And, oh man, this guy or girl really knows what the hell they're doing. You know what I mean? They wouldn't have, you know, it sounds like it's a really weird, like intangible thing, but it makes a huge difference, I think, psychologically to somebody when when you're confident in the delivery of information, no matter what the information is, from pricing to methodology to, you know, your approach. Just be confident.
I would agree. Shannon made a comment in the Zoom. Do you find yourself mentioning, you know, that kind of stuff during the consultation?
To a point. You know, like, I try not to go too far down one road in a consultation, because it's just that, right? It's a consultation. You're trying to see which page each person is on, where they're at for their vision, you know, where they see it, and then you offer back to them. You know, I always tell people, I always say to them, give me your ideas, tell me where you want it, let me handle the composition. How do you envision this thing looking? And then this is how I would compose it. And again, you know, I can't stress enough being confident in delivering that information. It's all about the delivery, right? Like, you could tell somebody that the same information, if you're ho-humming about it and kind of, you know, kicking rocks around, so to speak, with your hands in your pockets, you know, not looking them directly in the eye and not being firm in what you say, because when you're firm about that, that gives them confidence that you know what it is that you're talking about, you know, and depending on your experience, you should know what you're talking about.
So we did have Nick just replied to his previous comment that I mentioned, where it was like, you know, there's a reason why they are there. Let me do my job. Your job is to sit still. He said that is not a blanket statement. It's something you have to build up to over time as we go. You know, as you go and you tattoo these clients over and over again, you need a little bit more room to breathe, right? You need a little bit more trust, a little bit more of that. Hey, you know what you're doing. I know what I'm doing. You know, here's what my responsibilities are while doing this tattoo. You know what your responsibilities are when it comes down to getting tattooed. You know, it's something that does have to be built up, and I would agree with that.
Yeah, me too. So he's saying more or less that there, you know, this is a client that, you know, that you've worked with before in the past, and now they're starting to bring up, hey, what do you think what's going on here with this piece or that piece? And I understand that. I absolutely would agree with that. Yeah, that you got to say, hey, man, you for a girl or whatever. Hey, person.
There you go.
We've danced this dance before, and, you know, and walked away happy, both of us. You know, you gotta just trust what I'm doing here, and I got you. You're right, like letting them know, hey, I got you. I know I'm gonna get us there. Don't worry about it, you know. Sometimes you have a client that's just difficult, though, you know, like I recently had that guy with the whole lion thing, and I was a real stressful situation for me, you know. But I have to own up to taking partial responsibility, and that I wasn't fully clear with him with what exactly it was that I was doing as I was getting there. But he even said to me and took responsibility. He wasn't as clear as what he should have been in describing to me what it was that he wanted to have done. So makes sense. It's definitely a two-way street. Yeah, for sure. But any of those younger tattooers out there, it starts with confidence. Be confident in the information that you know. Don't try and bullshit your way through something if you don't know it. You know, be honest, or take a minute and talk to another artist and see how they can help you. But if it's something that you know, or something that you feel or see, and you've been down that road or have that experience, let them know you know what you're doing. Not in such a direct way. Hey, man, I know what I'm doing. Back off.
Yeah, clients don't usually appreciate that.
No, not at all.
I think he did it the other.
I mean, you know, maybe some do appreciate that, you know, kind of directness, but
well, so I was getting tattooed.
Most do not.
I'll tell you a funny story. I was getting tattooed by Nick Panzer. Anybody who doesn't know who he is, definitely look him up. He works at Old City Tattoo in Philadelphia. His last name Panzer, Nick Panzer. He's a great dude. He's an awesome artist, and he's tattooing this little Oni demon on my hand. and he's got all the little barbs coming off of the chin. And he's got his little fangs hanging out, and he's got his barbs coming off of his mustache. And he about 3/4 of the way through, he's coloring everything in, and he's doing the barbs, and he doesn't get to one of them. And I see he doesn't get to it, but I'm just like, I let it go for a little while. And he's starting to wrap up the tattoo. And I said, hey, you gonna color in that little barb right there? And he looks up at me and he goes, it's a tooth. And everybody kind of laughed, you know, in the shops, like I'm, you know, how tattooers, you're dictating to another tattooer how you're gonna do the work. And then he goes about his work, and 20 more minutes go by. Now he's really getting into finishing everything up, and he looks at it and he goes, oh shit, that was a barb. Yellow, that was not a, is that the one you were talking about? I said, yeah, but I wasn't going to argue with you past that point. You know what I mean? You know what you're doing. So, but we had a good laugh about it. And he always said, he goes, it's a delight to tattoo Seth. He picks out your colors for you. He shows you
Oh shit.
what's the design for.
Yeah, I've always adopted the strategy, and you know, I'm one of those people that I do my homework really, really thoroughly before I get tattooed by anyone.
Yeah.
You know, I'm researching their entire body of work for years before I ever, you know, actually reach out.
Yeah.
And, you know, at that point in time, I know that no matter what happens, I know they're going to crush it. No matter
Yeah,
what kind of subject matter I give them, they're going to do it the way that they do it, and they are going to absolutely crush it. If they want feedback or input from me, I'm willing and available, but whatever, I know that whatever it is I ask them for, they're going to do it in their way with their interpretation, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to, as time goes on, I'm wanting more and more to get this back piece from Andre. I just gotta nail down a commitment and figure out a schedule if he's traveling to New York to get it done, but I'm holding out.
Yeah, aren't you supposed to be getting tattooed by John Clue?
I am. I've just kind of been crazy in my world over the last few weeks, so I
Yeah,
haven't really been able to plan that out, but I am getting there for sure. And we've been staying in contact online and stuff, so that's good. But you know what? I may have some time this afternoon. So when I do talk to him, I will for sure let you know.
yeah, please reach out and let me
I
know.
will.
Let him know it's like the short blonde guy that he met when he was up in Canada.
I'll tell him the handsome fellow with the plaid shirt.
There you go. Although I don't think I was always wearing a plaid shirt, but you know, same concept. Cool. Well,
Awesome.
we're getting to about that time, everyone.
Sounds good.
Let's go through and we'll do a couple of quick little sign-offs.
Awesome.
And Seth, we will start with you.
Awesome.
Go ahead and let us know how we can reach you.
My name is Seth Mushrush. You can find me on my website, sethmushrashart.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Seth Mushrush, or at one of two shops, Baker Street Tattoo in Media, Pennsylvania. And suggest giving them a follow. There's great artists there. And you can also find me at the Gallery Tattoo Studio in Concord, Massachusetts. Give them a follow as well. Awesome artists up there. It's a beautiful shop. So I'm around Philadelphia most of the time. So reach out if I can help you guys out with anything, and be confident.
Right
Thanks
on, man.
a lot for having me
Excellent
on,
advice.
Jason.
Thank you very much.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too. Shannon, I don't know if you want to unmute yourself and say a quick sign off. Hold on, I'll spotlight that. Everywhere I'm in Texas. Great state of Texas. I was there. I was born in Houston, so trust me. I remember bits and pieces, not too much, but thank you very much for joining us today, as always. Maybe next time you can join us with your audio. And yeah, we'll take it from there. Let's see, I'll spotlight myself. Let's do this. More good. And would like to give a very special thank you to Nick Wagner from Black Hive Tattoo, jumping in today in the YouTube. Go take a look at Black Hive. Nick Wagner's work is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Go take a look. Yeah, definitely check it out. Everyone, thank you for joining in today. As always, if you liked what you saw today, let us know, post some positive comments and reviews in the channel. Let us know what you think. If you guys have ideas for show topics or anything like that that you want us to discuss, by all means, please let us know. And maybe we'll get to it next week. Otherwise, thank you guys very much for joining us today here at the Reinventing the Tattoo Network, and we will catch you next week. Cheers, everyone.